See me.
Perfect. Yeah, no big deal with that either. But no, you just brought up expired listings are definitely good. To be honest, I've had more heartache with sellers, and I don't know if it's just the timing. But one thing that I know has been big for myself and our business is the focus on buyers. And everything you listen to, every study, everybody who's been doing this forever tells you focus on listings. Not to stay away from buyers, but you can get ran down working with buyers. Mike Ferry says you can only work with maybe 5 to 7 buyers at one time, and they're going to take all your time. They're very needy. It takes many more hours to put something together. So all the material out there tells you stay away from buyers, focus on sellers. And what I'm glad I saw before it happened was I knew there'd be a buildup during this whole COVID stay-at-home order, and I knew that many people would want to move. Just knowing that things we're personally experiencing at our own house, where it's like, okay, it'd be nice to have a pool. It'd be nice to have extra room in our house. To have the home office, to still be able to live in harmony now that we're at home more. So all of that has prompted this hysteria in terms of buying, right? And low interest rates, demand is through the roof, inventory is low, multiple offer situations. So buyers are paying a premium, but at the same time, with the rate being as low as it is, the price, as long as they don't get afraid of the sticker shock on the price, there's a lot more success working with good quality, motivated buyers that are eager to get out there. And if they work with other people, they're kind of getting their butts kicked. So you can really separate yourself from the competition right now, working with buyers as a strong buyer's agent. Um, it's all based on what your approach is. How do you package it up? How do you communicate with your buyer? How do you move your buyer through the process? And there's definitely a system and a process that I've over time just realized it all kind of comes together. Some from what I've pulled from other people, but most of it just kind of understanding the process. And your basic step is, okay, first you got to find the motivated buyer. Then you got to kind of educate them through the process, kind of diagnose where they're at. Okay, are they first time buyer? Are they move up, move down buyer? But the buying is the catalyst. And even for sellers, even the people that I'm helping on selling their homes, the buying is what's motivating them to take action on listing their home. Now, sellers know they can get top dollar for their home right now, or they should start becoming aware of that. But there's still a lot of fear. There's not a lot of inventory. So they're worried about their next purchase. There's still concerns of the virus. How does that work? Do I want to let people into my house? Our last listing, we had almost 20 showings on the first day. Luckily, my clients were on vacation for the week, so the house was vacant. And we were able, even though it's occupied, it was very easy to set up showings. So we should set them up every 30 minutes. Well, you price it right, and it shows well. And in Thousand Oaks for a 4-bedroom at 750, you're priced on the money because most things are going north of 800,000. And if your property shows good, that you've done some updates, it's not a complete fixer-upper type property by any means, you're going to get the interest. Well, some people are getting a lot of interest. One was listed at 950, and the guy told us he had 15 showings with no offers, but he said there was one on the way. Well, sure enough, on Sunday, my wife calls on Saturday, gets that info. Sunday, 3 offers, I guess, come in. He's basically begging for an offer before then, saying, hey, there's flex on the price, just right. And he also admitted that his clients had COVID, were recovered from it about 3 weeks ago. So many different reasons to kind of be hesitant to show this particular property, but my clients wanted to see it. Well, come Monday, which is today, the day that we're actually supposed to show it, well, later Sunday, I'm sorry, it flips to active under contract, where he said, I had no offers, we're priced too high, there's flex on the price, just bring anything. And he's freaking out. Within a 24-hour span, it flips, and not only does he get an offer, he gets 3 offers, and he gets one over ask, and that puts pressure on him to wrap it up. So you got two different, well, not two, you got a few different strategies of what listing agents are doing to sell homes. Some are just sitting on the property for at least 5 days to 7 days, and they're going to collect offers. They want to get as many offers as they can. It's going to turn into a multiple offer situation. Then you got others that are, you have others that you know, I guess agents that if they get the right price, they're presenting it right away. And if a buyer's agent, what's up, but if a buyer's agent puts a short expiration on there, that and they've been sweating the market, you know, for a week, couple weeks, and nothing else coming on, they're biting at that offer and they're taking that offer. So very just real quick, I'm giving Skip just kind of an overview of what I'm seeing in the market right now, the approach with working towards buyers versus sellers, and kind of the theory that sellers are the way to go, but buyers are. I personally have seen a lot of success working with buyers right now. So I'm just trying to share some of that insight, recording it. I'm going to share this with my brother Ben. I actually sent him an email invite. He's got a few weeks off from GNC on paternity leave. He's working on his real estate license right now. So just trying to put a bunch of content on what's happening, what's working right now, so that you guys can use what you can use. And I'm going to share it with Ben as well, and just kind of get him rolling on the right mindset and process of how to find motivated buyers right now, you know, in this marketplace. So how you doing, bud?
Doing good. Doing good about yourself.
Good, man. Thank you. Hey,
what's up, Skip?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure to see you.
Same here. I can't see you, but a pleasure to hear you.
I have the painting of me up. I'm just real conscious or shy of camera.
Be careful. Don't be too shy.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna go out with my wife and make a commercial with her horses. Maybe that'll get some feedback.
That's cool. Yeah. Skip, so just with what I was sharing so far, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
So it's just at different times, and you know, the other person that I've seen do that very well, and to be honest, he's a great buyer's agent. Ken Gretsch is a huge proponent of working with buyers, and he's got his own system that works really well. And with a lot of buyers, they got typically, especially if it's move up, move down, they got something to sell, you know. And if you help them find something, there's usually something you can tie in to make sure that you're representing both sides, however you want to approach it, depending on what the situation is, you know. But a lot of people right now are looking for deals. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, man, where these, you know, companies are offering 50%. If you just go with some online random person, or 25% is a Redfin common thing. So with the showings and the offers that have come in, I had a good amount of the showings on the listing that are Redfin agents. One, though, seemed pretty impressive, and they wrote a heck of an offer. I mean, they wrote 25 over asking price. So we're just getting down to the very end of it right now. But all of this experience is helping me with one of the buyers that I'm working with that's getting his butt kicked. Well, I can't say getting his butt kicked. He's been very particular. Saw one place he liked, wrote a full price offer, short expiration. They didn't even acknowledge they received it because they knew they had, you know, 11 showings set up over the next couple of days. So they just waited and they sat on it. And then after they had 6 offers in hand, then they responded to us and say, yeah, we got 6 offers in hand. You know, we'll keep you posted, kind of thing. We never got a counter. We wrote a full price. So be careful writing that first offer. You write that first offer, doesn't really do a whole lot. If anything, you want to be the last one coming in. If they give you a timeline, Wednesday till 5 o'clock, then, and you're showing it on Saturday, you don't want to write an offer on Saturday or Sunday. You want to be in touch with that agent and let them know that you have interest. You know, kind of check in if you got rapport with that agent, and then see, okay, you know, what's the situation looking like right now as you get closer to it. And you're better off. Out of all our offers, we got 7 offers on this property. The last 2 were the best offers because they already knew that there were 6 offers ahead of them. So they weren't messing around. They came way over top. They came in strong. And that's what's going to increase your odds of getting your offer accepted. And unless you're being aggressive like that, you're not going to have a chance right now in this market. So it's extremely competitive. It can be intimidating, but you can also give yourself an edge right now if you know how to lead your clients in the right way and put these deals together. So it's crazy. You see all types, but it's been a huge learning experience. I just want to share that with you guys, and hopefully you can use some of that and put some business together. Silver, anything that you're seeing? I know you had your listing recently, and you said you're working with a few buyers. Just what are you seeing that's working? And then after that, if there's anything you want to focus on that'll help you with what you're trying to accomplish right now.
What you were saying is true. It's pretty tough for the buyers right now, and I'm gonna tell you the story behind my listing. We had it at 750, no 749, and we didn't get not an offer, nothing. I mean, we got a lot of showings, but nothing was happening. And I talked to my lady, and so I say, hey, we need to do something. So she trusts me, so she's like, all right, well, you're the expert, you know what to do. Drop the price to a 709, and then we had more showings, and we had 3 offers. Okay, 3 offers, and then I show it to her. I said, so here, take a look at it. This is the offer that we got. And I decided to go with 1 offer only and not to counter back as a multiple offers. The reason why is because the offer that I chose to, I talked to the agent who was representing the buyers. And so this is what I got from these 3 offers. It's like that offer that I asked my seller to choose. Those people really wanted the property. They fell in love with the property, and they're like, we want it. And then I find out that they're Latinos, and Latinos, when they want something, it's not about the money anymore. It's about because they see the potential in the property. It needs work, but they're like, well, if we qualify, if the price is right and the appraisal comes up right and whatever, we don't have any problem with it, but we do want the property. So I told my client, I said, listen, all these other people over here, we got 2 more offers. These guys are not really sure they want the property or not, and they're lowballing the property. These guys are willing to pay a little more, and they are excited about the property. So I say, we should go with this, because if we do a multiple counter, we might lose them. And so we did that, and right until today, I mean, we probably gonna close in about 2 weeks, okay? But even like, we took their offer and everything, and here's what happened. So their offer, first of all, it was conventional. 2 days later, after we took their offer, everybody signed off, I opened escrow and blah, blah, blah. And then the agent comes out to me and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but there was a mistake over here. And I say, what kind of mistake? And she's like, we're going FHA, we're not going conventional. I say, you can't do that. We took your offer because it was a conventional, and I know the property needs work. We were comfortable with your offer because your clients wanted it, and it's conventional. Now we're gonna go FHA. Now we're gonna have trouble because I know there's a pool in there, and the pool is not in great shape. And there's a couple of other things that I saw. So I was being smart about it, not to get an FHA loan. They freaking switch on me, right? And like, okay, let's take it. But I'm telling you right now, my client is not gonna do any fixing, none. So if we come to that point and your buyer doesn't want to do anything, we're done. So the appraisal came in right on the money, okay? But they called on the pool, because that's a problem. I knew it. And then they called on a couple of little things. But that's about $5,000, $7,000 to fix that. And I'm like, okay, so I talked to the agent, and dude, these guys want the property. The buyers are gonna pay for that. They're taking a pool guy this week to give them an estimate on that. That's how bad they want it. I mean, we got lucky to choose them because they are excited about it. But any other deal where something like that comes up, they're gonna go like, we're out. You know, so yeah, it's pretty tough out there right now with with buyers and agents. Also, you gotta be careful with agents. I don't know this chick, the agent. Um, Surprised because I know a lot of agents, you know, but I don't know her. And she, first of all, she didn't check her buyer. She didn't make sure that what kind of loan was it and everything. And I talked to her afterwards. And I said, did you? How do you know these people? Oh, they found me online, whatever. And I'm like, have you talked to their lender? Well, I talked to her once. You know, she just sent me an email with the approval letter and everything. I'm like, no, you have to do your job, you know, as as an agent. So yeah, I think I felt a little bit on that because I should have just checked everybody, you know. But I put the pressure on her. I said, hey, listen, we're not gonna do anything. So if anything happens, we're done. But then I also talked to the lender, and the lender says, you know, Severio, I want to make sure that we can get this deal done. My clients are so excited about your house and everything, and I don't want to mess it up and have them lost that deal. So here we are.
Yeah, good luck with it, man.
Yeah.
It's always tough to know how to approach these situations. You know, if you would do anything differently, would you change anything just in terms of your approach? Obviously, you went with the person that you feel in your gut is the right one to move forward and close the transaction, and they're committed. And I'm sure your intuition's right on that. Is there anything else you could have done differently to make sure that you know, from the challenges you're seeing now, that you could have prevented it?
Yeah. One of them would have been like talking to the lender. That was in my mind, and I got involved in all the things and doing this and all, you know, and doing that, and all of a sudden I never got the chance to make that phone call and talk to the lender, see who the lender was. And then the other one, it was like more deep. Just go deeper on the knowledge of that agent. Those two things. If I would have done that, I would not be in that position that I am right now. Because at that point, if I would have find out, you know, who she is and this and that, whatever her experience, you know, just I asked those questions later. I should have asked those questions before I accepted the offer because they were like overboard with the property. That was my time to dig in and ask, get all that information, and I lost that moment.
Right. No, that's good. Great feedback and a great lesson, and very important to know. You know, a lot of our goal, especially when we're representing these sellers ahead of time, is when you take one buyer, you lose all your momentum, you lose everything else. It doesn't matter how many offers you got. It doesn't matter how much momentum you had up front. You go forward with the wrong one just because they offered the highest price, just because, you know, they sang to you in the tone that you wanted to be sung to, and you move forward and you jump on it, and then all the gloves and the mask comes off after you open escrow.
Yeah.
The real, you know, 2 days later you said they switched. I already knew where you were going with it. The second you said 2 days later, I'm like, oh, it's FHA. And sure enough, flip to FHA. So how do you prevent that? So people don't like it a lot of times if they're writing on my properties, but they know, especially if I get to a situation where I can create the multiple offer, which we just did with this property right now that we're still working on. And it was interesting because you know, I was asking my dad, he's got a listing coming up, and he hears what we're dealing with right now, which is a lot of offers, a lot of interest, a lot of showings. We're well over asking price right now. And basically, you know, what was brought up was, hey, you know, Mike Hobbs made a living off that. And this obviously stays here on this recording. and that guy skipped town, you know, like just purposely price it super low, create these crazy bidding wars, knowing that it's one way to sell a home. Well, I know deep down in my heart on my listing, and I didn't respond back to it, but I know that we didn't price it low. We priced it right on the money. The last two comps that were model matches sold at 725 and 735 that were the exact same model. Now those needed a little bit more work than mine did, but my property still needs some work. I mean, the kitchen's great. The backyard's mostly hill. It's got all these succulents that not everybody's into succulents. You know, it's drought resistant, but it covers the entire backyard. The people that like it, they love it. And at least they're saying that they love it, but there's, you know, it doesn't fit everybody. So I already knew we had some challenges. I still know the roof is probably going to need to be replaced in the next 10, 15 years, maybe less than that. Who knows? No leaks that we know of. Termite hasn't been done, right? You got some major situations coming up. So long story short, my approach at listing 750, originally I was like 775 we could probably get. But the one who is a model match, who was on the market for over 100 days, started at 775, dropped it to 725 after 100 plus days. And they took an offer at 725 model match, right? So I knew it's like, if we go 775, that may be too high. And I said 750 is what I told you, between 750, 760 is your sweet spot. I said, if it were me, I list at 750. The owner even tells me, well, let's try 745. I was like, no, we don't need to do that. Let's stick to 750. I feel good about 750. So we list it. First day, 17 showings. Second day, another 10, 12 showings. We got it. I mean, I've never had this much activity on any property ever in my career. And it's just been insane in terms of the amount of showings. And it's still happening. Just yesterday, there was still another 6 or 7. That's after like 6 days on the market with 5, 6 offers in hand. So now I got the challenge because I got all these offers. Well, one FHA buyer, which they dropped out. Everybody else is at least 20% down. I got an all cash over ask, all cash. Everybody else, I've already countered them back, even though we were saying submit by Sunday and we were going to discuss on Monday. I countered everybody on Friday and Saturday to see where people are at. And I said, submit best and final, as is sale, potential rent back up to 30 days at my rate, $100 per day. I put, what else did I put on there? COE plus 3. I want 3 additional days for free, guaranteed. Double cross qualify with Jason Haraldson. Anybody who's lending other than the cash buyer has to cross qualify with Jason. So I'm putting everybody through the ringer, and it's a pain in the ass on my part. It's a pain in the ass on everybody I'm dealing with, but I get one crack to pick the right buyer. Yeah. And I already know my clients are going to go with the highest offer that's in hand, and it's way higher than everybody else. But that buyer has 10% down, says they love it, say they're conventional. It's a Redfin agent, which I'm not too fond of already, right? But I don't get how my approach, and I'm not trying to sound defensive, is the wrong approach in this market when I'm going through extra effort to make sure I got as many motivated, desirable buyers that you can potentially have. What would you rather have? Everybody going up on price and giving everything they got to try to get this offer, or where you have to do a price drop and now they feel they got you. And now you're scared. You come from a position of defense, of scared, of fear, versus a position of power, which is what I'm in right now. So I'm not trying to say one way is better than the other. I just know if I did it over again, I'd do the exact same thing. The only thing I would have done differently, and I still could do it, is I'd bump the price up once I already have 5, 6 offers, bump it from the 750 up to my highest, but then it tells my highest offer who's the highest offer, which I don't want to do that either. I want to keep everybody guessing. So I only share it. It's not to, believe me, I'm not trying to one up use Silver or anybody, right? It was just interesting because the conversation came up and as a new listener, he's like, oh yeah, we're going to price on the higher side. I don't like playing all those games. If somebody wants it, they're going to write, we're going to weed them out. That's one way. That's one approach. I hope it works out. And you know what? I know there's certain listings I see priced way overpriced that are going in escrow. So who knows? Maybe that is the right approach. Maybe I could have got more money, but woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm looking at what just happened in the last month, right? In terms of homes that were model matched right up the street that needed a little bit more work, but had a good kitchen, in my opinion, a better backyard, a better location than my location, And I just saw what they did from 775 down to 725. So you got to be careful with it. I hope it's helpful, for this recording training purposes. I think it's very relevant, Saverio. Thank you for sharing what you did, because I've been in that situation and it's tough and it's hard to know.
No, I was, but on the flip side of the coin, what I use on that is the pressure and the guilt to make them feel guilty because they played that on me, right? So now I'm like, hey, listen, you guys messed up. You guys should have been straightforward from the beginning.
Yep.
We trusted you, and now you have to perform. If you don't perform, I'm kicking you out quick. Yep. And they were like, no, my clients really loved it. They wanted whatever. I say, right, you're gonna have to pay for the repairs because we ain't doing a thing.
Right.
And so the guy, the family is going over there. And they're gonna take care of business because as a matter of fact, my client even told me, she's like, if the appraisal doesn't come out at 700, because that's the price, 700, she's like, I'm not selling and I'm pulling the house off the market.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
She put the pressure on you.
Exactly.
Right. You put it on them, and it's the only thing. Go ahead.
One more thing that I want to share. I want to share this piece of information, so Skip can also pay attention to these things. I just took a new listing over there in Reseda. It was a referral. Latinos went over there, nice dress, suit, and whatever. Got him, talked to them, and we had a great connection. We had, we click and everything, and I took the listing. It was the first time I was meeting with them, but I took the listing agreement, and so at the end of the conversation, I said, well, they were like, okay, well, let's move forward, let's do it. And then I say, okay, well, in order for me to move forward and start, exposing your property, I need you to sign a contract with me, because then that way I'm actually legitimate, just like working for you guys. And I'm gonna start talking about your property. I'm gonna, until the property gets ready, I'm gonna bring you a landscaping guy because we need some landscaping. They were like, everything was perfect. And they're doctors, both of them, husband and wife are doctors. So I give him the contract, and she went over and read, the contract, right? And she's like, okay, and she starts signing. So she signed everything, came back home. And that was on Friday. No, that was on Thursday. On Friday night, she calls me up, or she texts me late. She's like, Saverio, you never talked to us about the commission. And then I say, I'm still working at home. You can call me right now, or we can chat tomorrow, and I can explain that to you. And she's like, no, let's just talk tomorrow. I'm like, all right. Call the next day, and I told her, I say, hey, listen, I give you the contract. I saw you, reading the contract, going over the contract, and you didn't ask any questions. So obviously, I thought that everything was fine, that you were okay with. And then so I say, well, I charge this much, I give, I'm charging her 5%. I said 5%, I give 2.5% to another agent that brings me a qualified buyer to buy your property. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she goes, her mom is 103 years old. Okay. And what she said to me after I said that is, well, you know what? She's like, I'm thinking about my mom now, because there's going to be people coming in and out of the house. And, with this COVID-19, I'm putting her at risk. And I say, I totally understand that. That's one of the things that I was thinking about it too. How are we going to try to keep her as safe as possible, in this situation, in this crisis? And she's like, I think I'm just going to wait. And then we can, after all this thing, COVID-19 is done and we feel better about it, then we can, make the move. but she's like, I think right now we're just gonna have to wait. And I say I can send you a cancellation. And I told you when you were signing the contract, I say you can cancel this at any time. And I like to work with people at their pace, and I like to work with people when they're comfortable with me. It's a teamwork. I say I can't do it on my own, and I need your support, and you're confident. And she's like, yeah, I totally understand. She's like, just send me the cancellation. So I said, all right. I said, don't worry about it. And she's like, how much do I owe you for the time that you spent? You drove over here, you came over here. So you don't owe me anything. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that you understand this and you feel comfortable. And I'm good. Don't worry about it. So I sent her the cancellation on Saturday, but she hasn't sent it back. So I thought she was in a rush to cancel it. I sent her the cancellation. I said, here it is. Here's a copy of the contract that you signed, and here's the cancellation.
What's the price at?
$630.
Any way you can try to sell it? Do you have a buyer, or can you find a buyer that you can?
I can probably find a buyer over there. Yeah.
Then you may want to try to do that. And that's how you could sell it to her, is that you're not going to have to expose it to many different people. Take one person there that and just say, hey, let's make arrangements for one day. If they like it and they write on it, for them, they'll have the incentive. They're not competing against a multiple offer situation. For her, she doesn't have to expose the property, take care of both things. You know what I mean? So
Hear that.
yeah, it's a long shot, but you never know. Never
Yeah.
know. It's, you got something to work with, and you got these pro agent leads, and you get people looking out in Reseda, so give them calls. You don't want it to just be any looky-loo. You want somebody obviously who's pre-approved, who can pull the trigger. And the advantage to them or incentive to them is that these guys don't want a lot of exposure, so they could possibly come in and be the only one to check it out and write an offer and maybe get it all worked out, So that popped out at me, you know what I mean, when you shared that. But
thank you.
Nice job in how you handled it, and nice job just in terms of respecting their situation and cancellation and all that,
Yeah. I for at the beginning, I thought she was gonna pushing back, and before signing the contract. I say, listen, the contract does have starting date is today, and the ending date to be a valid contract. But with me, you can cancel these at any time. I don't, it's not. I'm like, I like to work with people. When people are not comfortable, it's better not to do it. So I say I'm okay with it.
Good. I like that, man.
Cool. And not only that, but they're actually buying something over here in Camarillo. That's what she wants to move from there because it's too hot,
Right.
But I haven't received that cancellation back yet, so I'm gonna hit her up today. See what's taking so long.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd push her to hurry up and get you a cancellation, man. You may want to focus on other things. Let her send that at her pace, and you find a buyer in the meantime.
Yeah,
legit.
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna contact some people over there.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, listen, we don't have to bring people home. We can just do a virtual tour.
Yep.
And show her one of the virtual tours that I have on my my listing. And she's like, oh, it looks great. And I said, we can do something like that. We don't have to have people come in, and I screen them before we actually decided to show them,
Right. No, that's cool. Well, sounds good, man. Yeah, nice job. Well, let's get on. It's already 9:44. I'm going to try to send you guys some leads right now if you guys want to make some calls. Skip, anything you want to add or any questions just based on what was shared?
No, I'm just learning a lot. Thank you.
Cool. Was that helpful?
Yeah, very. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing, man. I was actually talking to our boy Dusty the other day, and he was talking about how some agents have been hitting him up and just like running scenarios by him, and he was admitting how helpful that is. You know what I mean? And I agree. I think not that we just want to be on here for 45 minutes sharing stories of what's happening right now, but it does help speed up the learning curve. It helps bring relevant information of what's happening on the market right now, and that's key for us, is to have a strong pulse of what's happening today. So just appreciate you sharing all that, Silver, and just always being honest and telling it exactly how it is.
Yeah.
I hope you guys took what I shared as well the same way. That's the only purpose of sharing it. It's not, believe me, it's been a pain. It's been a lot of work, and it's been a lot more gratifying, to be frank, working with these buyers than the last 2 sellers that I've had. So I've had a lot more buyers than sellers. So just work with what's working, right? Don't try to always find something new. I guess, Skip, that's some of the advice just from the early conversation we talked about with expireds. Not saying don't do it. If you can get success out of it, work it, right? There's obviously a lack of inventory, but it's also very difficult, and it can happen. But I got a few sellers that are supposed to be coming up, and I'm giving them their space because I know they're not ready for it right now. Just like what Saverio just said with the whole COVID-19, the fear, the concerns, sellers are still hesitant. So the buyers are the more motivated people, and you got to work with who's motivated, period. This is all about a game of figuring out who's the most motivated, who's committed to me, who's spending their time, who's doing what I say they should do. And those people that are doing that, that's where I spend my time and attention. And if I miss those people, then I'm dropping the ball, right? But if I'm not asking the right questions and I'm not following up with them and I'm not staying in touch and moving them through the process, that's on me. So what do I need to do to my system to make sure I'm spending time with the right people that are motivated, that are out there looking? And if I don't know who's motivated or not, then I'm not talking to enough people. And I got to figure out, okay, I need to refigure this out to find the right motivated people. There are motivated sellers out there, but it's not easy. And I don't know, because I got friends, past clients that are still on the fence with selling. And it's like, what are you guys waiting for? You know what I mean? Now is the best time to sell, but I can keep doing that and make them feel like I'm pressuring all of them. And then at the end of the day, there's a lot of resent already.
Yeah.
Like
They don't like it.
I'm already feeling it. And it's like, I'm not even, they called me. Well, actually, they almost fired me first. And then, but decided that they were going to sell their house. They were going to go with like a help you sell type service. I'm like, what are you doing? After 3-4 months of working with them. So it doesn't matter who you are. Commission becomes a big part of the conversation. And right now with low inventory, believe me, man, they are thinking, why sell with Brandon, Saverio, Skip, when I can sell it for $3,000 with assist to sell, do more of the work myself, probably still get the same results. That's what they're thinking in their head. So you got to bring the value, and they have to see it. You got to have that commission conversation. And when I almost got fired and I got an email basically saying, hey, thank you for everything you do. Hope your family's doing great. These are old neighbors. I had them at my wedding. I mean, they're more than just clients. These guys, we were close. And I got that email, and of course, I didn't just let it go. I called them up right away, and I was just like, hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing? Oh, we're good. We're good. Well, this is obviously about commission, right? Well, let's talk commission. We jumped straight to it, and right away, well, we're looking at help you sell, and, supposedly they can do $3,000 flat fee to sell their house. And, we still got to pay 2.5% on the other side. I was like, you got to pay 2.5%. I said, so you're looking to save obviously on the listing. Yeah, well, they're going to send a handyman who will do a handyman like an hour or 2 hours worth of work that's covered. And I'm hearing all this. And then finally, my friend, client says, so what can you do for me? Like, basically, what are you going to throw in for me? And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I was like, are we really having this? I was like, okay, let's talk. So do you want to talk? Let's talk. So not only did I sell you this house 13 years ago, that you got it at $500,000, that now we're selling it at $775K, right? So not only did I put you in the home to begin with, said I kind of know a few more things than I did 13 years ago, right? I went to law school. I managed an office, right? And so basically it's like I'm giving my resume to my friend, past client, and it's like, what is going on right now, right? After 45 minutes, I finally was able to isolate the objection and said, okay, let's put commission aside. Outside of commission, are you guys confident that I am able to sell your home and will look out for your best interest? And they're like, absolutely. I said, okay, well, let's make the commission work. So I did. I flexed on the commission more than I normally would want to do. But guess what? We're looking at a $950,000 property today. So I'm okay with that, right? I did what I had to do to make sure they didn't get screwed over by some discount freaking agent that's just going to tell them, hey, I'll do it for $3,000, or I'll do it for 1.5%, or I'll do it for this. And then if we find the buyer, we'll do the whole thing for 3%. That's literally what they were swaying towards, and they were going to take their chances working with some complete stranger just for that discounted commission. So I can't lose it. And
Yeah.
you know, I have plenty of business where I could have said no to it, but out of principle for me, and because I actually, regardless of how much it pissed me off, how much I care for them, I don't want to see their family get screwed, make the wrong decision based off it. So luckily, I'm in position that there's no sweat on my part. It's like, all right, let's do it. And still, when it all comes down to it, I'm going to make 25,000+ after it's all said and done anyway. So I'm good. You know, I'm all right. But craziness. But I just share it with you guys because it's just, it sucks. It's the reality of what we're dealing with right now. So Skip, before you get on with all those expireds and spend hours and hours and hours working expireds, don't forget the fruit that's in front of you, which are these buyers that potentially could be your next transaction, could be your quickest next transaction. If you can identify it, connect with them, lead them right away, get them motivated, get them set up, go through the home buyer process. And that was the original intention of having this session is, what do I do? So you talk to somebody who's thinking about buying a home. You have the call, you find out where they're at. You ask them questions. Have you purchased a home before? No, I haven't. Okay, so this is your first purchase. That's great. We work with clients at their pace, and we also have taught home buyer workshops for the past 15, 20 years. So we love educating first-time buyers. We can teach you on what's out there, what type of down payment assistance programs, if that seems like a fit. Sometimes that's not the best route to go, but sometimes it is. We can also help protect you in the contract. We're going to tell you how the contract works. So we can help get you prepared now so that you're ready and you're the strongest buyer possible to compete in this very competitive market and take advantage of these low interest rates. Then we can talk about what happens in the process of when you buy a home from when you get your offer accepted to when it closes. So would that be something you're interested in? Great. Okay, well, let's set 30 minutes. You know, what time do you have available? Set the appointment. Set the appointment. If you can, get them to your preferred loan officer, whoever that is. If it's with, you know, CSMC, Mark and Darcy are good. We've actually been working with David Honda, is very aggressive as well. So if you guys need David's info, I'll send you David's, because I've had some feedback that Mark and Darcy have kind of dropped the ball in a few spots. So I'm not trying to put them on blast, but if you need somebody more responsive, I'll send you David Honda. He's a younger loan officer, only like 3 to 5 years in the business, super aggressive, super hungry. When I was out showing a lot of property before the COVID hit, literally I saw this guy at like 3 or 4 different open houses between Westlake to Oxnard at the collection. This guy's hungry, and I like his intensity. I mean, he's a little, you know, on a whole nother level, but he's very committed to making this work. And he's one of the top performers at CSMC right now. So I already plugged him in with Leslie. They're starting to talk to a few people together, and highly encourage, if you guys need somebody with CSMC, get it rolling with them. Okay. So getting back to on point with the, you know, the process, get them pre-approved, make sure that they get all their paperwork, all their information in, but you don't have to not show property until they get pre-approved. Sometimes you got to get out there, get their appetite wet, and get out there and show property. Unless you guys got 5, 7, 10 escrows going at one time right now, in my opinion, you're not too busy to go out there, meet somebody, connect with them, and go show them a place or two. Most places are asking for a pre-approval letter, so that makes your job a lot easier when you say, hey, they need a pre-approval letter before we can see this one house. But it's actually not most. Say out of 5 showings, 1 person is requiring that. Maybe out of 10, 1 person is requiring the pre-approval letter beforehand. All they want to see is a signed PED, which is good, because now you're getting in the habit of them signing DocuSign from you as their first agent, sending them a legal document that, no, it's not a buyer broker, but they're in the habit of just signing off. The quicker they get in the habit of signing off, the quicker that you got a chance of solidifying them as a client. So you listen to Tom Hopkins, he talks about your pen is your friend and your contract, or your pen's your best friend, your contract is your friend, but you don't call it a contract because people are afraid of contracts. They've been told, be careful before you sign a contract. So it's the agreement. It's the paperwork we got to take care of, right? So you don't just pull the listing agreement out of a briefcase that seems intimidating. The listing agreement's already out. You're showing property. Your offer is already in your folder, ready to go. And they see you in the habit of writing notes all the time, right? Oh, tell me again, how do you spell your first and last name? Great. And what price were you thinking? Wonderful. You're already getting them comfortable. It doesn't seem like a tough process. So it's learning how to convert and paying attention to how long does it take for me to have my first interaction with somebody to the point to where I get them crystallized in the process of understanding what it takes to buy a home, and then getting them out there actually showing property to where they're getting information in, and then to the point where we're writing an offer. And the quicker and the more efficient you can get to doing that, the more offers you write, the higher likelihood that they're going to be a client that you're going to put them into escrow. So this whole thing should be a game to you of cutting down the time from your very first interaction to them to actually getting them into escrow. How long does it take you? What's your average? We had to figure these efficiencies out when I was at the nonprofit. We had to track them. And it taught me stuff, 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, of paying attention to when did I first meet them? How long did it take for me to be able to lead them through the process to getting qualified and then able to write an offer? So if all this sounds like mumbo jumbo, this is the realness of the business. This is the reality that if you master this and you figure out how to set appointments, how to show property, how to lead people, how to ask questions, how to make them feel comfortable, how to push, and then how to back off. Just like Severio did when it's like, hey, you got it. We need to sign this paperwork. We need to get it started. You got to have a reason for them to want to sign the agreement, right? You got to convince them. I can't expose it until I have this agreement. Now, be careful that you don't try to close too quick. And this is something Napoleon Hill talks about, Tom Hopkins talks about. You haven't earned the right yet. And I'm not saying Silver hadn't earned the right yet, but obviously commission came up after the agreement was sent. So if there's ever any unanswered questions, get all those questions answered before you send the agreement over to make sure that they feel more than comfortable going over and signing. And then it's closing, right? And then it's making sure you get that signed agreement. And the ones that send me the email that fired me before I was even hired, right? The one that right now I have 6 offers, all over asking. I got all cash, all over asking, right? In doing those things, the people that fired me beforehand, they took 4 days before they signed the listing agreement. After giving them what they wanted in terms of commission and verbalized and saying, yes, we're good to go and we're gonna work on it, right? And after that whole thing, still took them 4 days to sign it. So if I would have pushed too hard at that point in time, they likely could have walked. They already were going to fire me beforehand. Then it got awkward when I showed property to them because they could tell it wasn't the same. And I was trying not to hold any grudges or show any negative vibes. It's like, it's business. I get it. I get you guys want to save money. And they brought up, hey, we got kids going to college, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I get it. It's a lot of money we're talking about, a lot of commissions we're talking about here. So hope that helps. I see Skip just took a break, so I guess my rant went a little too long. But it's are you good, Silver?
I'm good.
Cool. Hopefully it was helpful. I definitely recorded it, so I'm going to share it with my brother Ben, just so he can kind of get a gist of what it is in terms of we do as we study and for his test right now. So going to get him rolling, and
You know what? There's a lot to learn in these conversations because what we are basically talking about is like what we experience right now in the marketplace right now.
Right.
And a lot of people don't share that.
No.
And then you have to go find out for yourself. But if you have someone that is sharing what's going on, how to approach it and where did you mess up and how would you do it all over again? What would you change? All those things. I'm like, oh, okay. And I figure out, as soon as things happen, and I'm like, I know I should have done this, But sometimes we just get caught up on the moment, and thinking everything is okay. But obviously, after people sign documents, they start thinking, they're like, oh, wait a minute. But no, I was, with my lady in Camarillo, I was like, what happened if the appraisal doesn't come on, on the price? She's gonna go, I'm pulling the plug.
Right.
And I already talked to her about it. I say, at the beginning, I say, there might be a situation that sometimes the appraisers will appraise the property for a lower value than what the buyer is willing to pay.
Right.
And at that point, I mean, either the buyer's going to come up with the extra money, or there will be no deal,
Yeah.
because the money, it won't be there, you know?
It's good you asked the question ahead of time. You know,
Yeah.
temperature gauge question.
Yeah.
You're asking to see what their commitment is and whether they're willing to move forward. Are they willing to negotiate or not? And she was very clear in terms of her stance. So it's like, okay, that sounds good. So now you know. So now that preps you for your conversation with the other agent. So the one final thing I wanted to touch on, because we just did it this last week, and we got an offer accepted. It was a referral, and Leslie actually was helping me with it, showing the property. So we opened it together, and it was a pretty cool situation. It's the only reason why I want to share it right now, because I was able to conference call her in on the call to the agent. Property just hit 4 or 5 days on the market. It was listed at 600,000. I could tell based on comps that a lot of people are going to be intimidated by the price. It's over Port Hueneme, but close to the beach, on the better side of Ventura Road, like literally walking steps to the beach. Beautiful home built after 2000, detached. And it's about, I'm trying to remember the size of it, 1,600 square feet, but completely redone. I mean, every piece of it looks like HGTV. Awesome property. So sure enough, they love it. You know, Leslie shows it to them twice. They love the property. They understood kind of how her and I were going to work together. And so I called the agent, even though Leslie had some rapport with the agent. He actually didn't call me back. So then Leslie calls him, and then she conferences me in. And so we're both on the call, and I'm doing all the talking. And I talked to the agent, and I was just like, look, this is our situation. And there's so much in that call that is so critical to somebody picking your offer. Yes, having the highest offer helps, right? Having a buyer that's strong, 20% down, definitely helps. But
Right.
what is your ability to close a listing agent and be able to speak the language they want to hear before you ever write an offer? That's critical. And it's critical to ask the right questions. And so I started feeling it out. And this guy starts just telling me, he's like, yeah, we got one under ask, but we counter back full price at 600, right? And I already knew my clients were good with 610, coming in 10 higher. Jason had already, got the DU approval. He didn't get the appraisal waiver. He actually ran it. It's a long story, but anyways, didn't get the appraisal waiver, which means comps can be an issue. But they were on board and they were following Jason's lead with the price. And it's like, cool, sounds good to go. So anyways, long story short, that conversation was critical in terms of the questions that were asked to the agent. And I just want for everybody that's on this call to know, when you call to win. When you present your offer, you're not coming in soft. You're not coming in, yeah, I hope, I think we can do this. They love the house. We promise you there'll be no games played. I start talking, people write high and then they try to ask for some ridiculous credit after the fact. We're not here to play games, right? And I'm not trying to shoot my clients in the foot. I'm trying to get their offer accepted, which is the number one goal up front, right? And so I just tell them, we've done this a lot. Jason and I have worked together. We've got a great track record. He closes everything that he approves. Anytime it's that, he's an awesome communicator. He knows the underwriter guidelines. These guys are as solid as you're going to get, right? And then it's based on the email and the template that you send in presenting it and how strong that is. DU approval, proof of funds. You want to mention their credit. You want to talk about their job history. You want to talk about all their strengths as you're packaging it, and then make very clear to them, this is what we got to do. And then I put a short expiration on it. So sure enough, he tells me, I got another 2 offers coming in tonight. He's like, I already like the way that you communicate. I can tell these guys are solid. I can tell you're good at what you do. I'm going to just call Jason. So he calls Jason. Jason said by the time Jason talked to him that he already was looking forward to working with us. And he's like, I don't know what you said to the guy. He's like, but he was already like, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. So Jason just solidified it even further, because he's strong in how he communicates. So by the end of that call, they didn't even counter us. They just accepted it straight up, took the offer. Another offer was on the way. They didn't care. Same thing happened with Debbie Gates. We write an offer on hers. We wrote 10 over ask, but asked for 10 back in closing costs. They just did a big drop from $725 down to $675. It had been sitting after the price drop for almost 30 days still. Of course, the weekend I go and show it, that's when everybody's starting to show it. She's like, hey, this was She was like, this is the biggest sleeper on the market. I said, I know. I can tell just based on the comps and the pricing of this. This is a great home, great price. So we write 10 over ask. And I asked her ahead of time. I said, look, with the jumbo loan, if we can get some closing cost help, then that will bring their interest rate even lower. I said, would there be any way we can try to ask for like 10 back in closing costs? And I knew it'd been sitting for 30 days, right? She's all right, 10 over ask, and I'll present it, and I'll see what we can do. So we did. So we write, they were asking 680. We wrote 690 and asked for 10,000 credit back. Well, it appraised no problem at 690. The last sale was at 730. It was bigger, but 730,000. We got it at 690 plus a $10,000 credit. Then we got another $1,500 credit. I gave some money. This is a past client of mine. In total, this client walked away with almost $18,000 in credit on selling their house that they were going to just refi. Jason Harrelson's like, hey, you need to talk to Brandon right now. You guys, instead of fixing your kitchen, why don't you just buy a new house with a new kitchen and you're good to go. So I get a listing purchase out of it based on Jason being called for a refi, which how many loan officers do you know are going to talk him out of a refi and say, hey, you may want to think about listing and purchasing.
Yeah.
And he did. So it started the process, and it was a long time. And we were in escrow before on theirs and spent all the money listing, getting it ready. Stay-at-home order hits. Both those fall out of escrow, both of them. So we had to wait 3 months till the job gets back. His job already got put on hold once with it being a physical therapist. Now I got a tight time frame. Then on Debbie Gates, she finds out on the home they're purchasing that there's a court order, a writ of execution has to take place. So now I got the buyers dragging their feet on one end. I got the listing on the other end. It was just crazy. So we get it all done. We actually just handed them the keys on that yesterday. And it was just, I worked my ass off with those commissions. But more than anything, my client got a steal of a property in this market and $18,000 in total credits on moving into their new home, which is just insane. But it's that conversation. And Debbie Gates said, because she knew it was me, she just told me flat out, she was just like, hey, other people are saying they had offers coming in, I shoot them away. She knew that I was the guy that was going to get this done. You know what I mean? So just, it's not trying to sound cocky, not trying to sound, you got to be confident. You got to know your stuff. You got to be able to sell it. Exactly. You have to know it.
And you got to present a good case with the listing agent. And
Yep.
if you have all the factors in there, on the offer and the confident and the knowledge and all that stuff, they're like, yeah, this is the kind of agent I want to work with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be flexible, be understanding, ask questions, find out what their situation is. I've had a lot of good agents who wrote on this property and they were just like, so what is it your seller's looking for? What are the terms your seller's looking for? In terms of time frames, money, it's always, they want to make as much money as they can make. That's a pretty common response. So that doesn't really help you out much other than if they give you a range. And some people are, do you have a range of where you think this will go out at? And sure enough, I was talking to you, Silver, and Skip probably knows Shannon Porter, talking to her on her listing that she's got just came up. And she's like, yeah. And she asked me, she's like, now that you've seen it, what do you think it's going to go out at? I got a client that's interested. I'm not going to tell her exactly what I think it's going to go out at, but I said, well, you definitely priced it right. Priced it at 710 and it needs some work, but great location. It's a flag lot. I said, you got a lot of good things. It's got a huge pool that's in great shape. So you got a lot of good things going for it, but it needs a lot of work. So, it takes working with the right people to make sure they're not going to screw around with you and ask for some ridiculous stuff down the road. She's like, oh, I know. We've all seen that. It's like, exactly. So I'm already selling myself and Jason Harrelson, who are doing the loan on this deal, before we ever write anything or do it, we've already started it. So instead of me sending an offer on Saturday, which my client wanted to do, and already got burned the first time doing that, she's already told me it's going to be on the market for 5 days. So by Wednesday, 5 o'clock is when that one's going to be. You're not writing any offers on that one, right, Silver?
No.
Okay, good. Just making sure. So anyways, but she brings up, she's like, yeah, Jennifer Honeycutt, she called me. Yeah, Jennifer Honeycutt called me up and said that, oh, it's going to go out in the high 7s before ever even seeing it. She's like, I don't think it'll do that. She's like, I think mid 7s. So she already told me her number that she's thinking is roughly around 750. Well, that's what she thinks. So she priced it low to try to make sure she got up to at least that 750 mark. And then she's going to do an as-is sale. Exact same thing I just did on the Thousand Oaks property. She's going to take the same approach, create a multiple offer situation, and then see. And my client right now he loves the place, but he's asking about asbestos and certain things. I'm like, look, man, just trust me. You're going to be fine. It's going to be fine if it works to that, but we got to get the offer accepted to start with, and then go from there.
That's the
I'm
first
already
step.
trying to set his expectations of realizing you're not going to get anything fixed. You know what I mean? So just know you're taking it as is. It's all going to be your project, and you got to come in as high as you feel comfortable coming in with. So I think we've kind of beat it up to death now, but you guys get the emphasis. The most important call is that call with that listing agent. What kind of impression? That's your listing presentation. That's your buyer's presentation, whatever the heck you want to call it. That's your interview with the listing agent. And you got to come correct. You got to know your client inside and out. You got to know the loan. You got to know what their job history is, why they love the particular property, and start hitting those buzzwords so that agent remembers who you are. So when you send that offer, you're just polishing it as nicely as possible. And that is the secret to putting deals together in this market, if there's any kind of secret. It's not a secret to agents who've been doing this for a long time, but a lot of us, we get rusty. I don't care how good you are. There were 2 or 3 homes that I missed out on that I'm like, damn, what am I doing wrong? I came in too weak, came in too soft. I assumed. I just sent it. I didn't have the phone call to the same type of determination, if you want to call it that, so it doesn't matter who you are. You don't come correct, you're not going to even give yourself a chance. Sometimes you come correct, you still get your butt kicked. So
Correct.
it doesn't guarantee anything, but it gives you a chance. Cool.
I get it.
You guys good? Okay, I'm going to send you guys the leads. No need to make the calls now, but I'm going to send them over to you. So thank you guys for being on it. Hope it was helpful. And
Thank you for your knowledge. I always learn something from you.
Appreciate it, brother. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It was mutual too. Thank you for sharing what you did.
Hey, how do you like those eggplants?
Good. Haven't tried it yet, but thank you for dropping. Those things are massive, man.
They're huge, dude.
Thank you. Okay, sent you both 10 each. I can't promise that I can do that every single time, but appreciate you guys being on there. Hopefully get some success out of there. Skip, you good still?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I hope it was helpful just in terms of what we were sharing today. And and also I never want to come across like I'm trying to discourage you from going after listings, expireds, any of that. Obviously taking action is the most important thing. The fact that you're not just sitting on your butt waiting for something to land in your lap, that's the biggest, most important thing. But come up with a game plan and don't let it beat you down. You know what I mean? Because it can be tough, and expireds are tough. And the good thing is they have wanted to sell at one point, but it didn't work out. So they already got a negative feeling towards the process. Right now is not the most positive time, even though you can get some positive results. It's pretty tough to guarantee it unless you come in with the right plan. And a lot of the issues for expireds are the fact that they've overpriced, that they didn't drop the price, that they didn't make the house successful enough. They were unrealistic. They had offers. They hired the wrong company. They hired a discount company that really didn't represent them the way that they should have and exposed the property. It was an out-of-area agent. So you got to think of all the different reasons why it didn't work out, and you got to come up with the reason why you are the right solution, the right fit. And obviously with C21, you got your exposure, but more than any of that, it's what you bring to the table as an agent, how you're going to tailor it towards their needs, and you are going to get the job done. So you got to believe you're the best person for the job and that you can get it done. So, wish you the best with that, and please text when you do pull your first listing appointment, and if there's anything I can help with, I'm sure Severio's the same way, just feel free to reach out.
Please do. Yeah, if you have any questions, you got my phone number. Just hit me up if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer any questions or give you an advice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, both of you, very much.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great week. I got to get going. Are you guys good?
Yeah.
Yep, we're good.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time this morning, and have a great week.
Thank you, homie.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.